Okay, so here we have, this problem says if f of x is equal to 3 square root x ln x, find f prime of x. So first of all, we need to figure out what the overall structure of the problem is. I noticed that my square root x is one function of x. Then I have another function of x that's my natural log of x, and those two things are multiplied together. So since I have a product of two functions of x, I'm going to need to use the product rule. So the product rule says if I have the derivative of two functions, that I take the derivative of the first times the second plus the derivative of the second times the first. So let me rewrite this into figuring out what f and g are. So I'll first write my 3 because it's just a coefficient. And my x, the square root of x, I can rewrite that as x to the power of 1/2, so I can use the product rule. And my natural log of x, I'll just leave it as it is. So I have my f would be my x to the 1/2. Oops, not f prime, just f. And then my natural log of x would be my g. So one strategy when you're trying to get used to the product rule that I find to be helpful is to come out to the side and to write down my f and my g. So my f is x to the 1/2. My g is ln of x. And then I can find my derivatives individually. To use the product rule, using the power rule to take this derivative, I'll bring the 1/2 down and then subtract 1 from the exponent to make it negative 1/2. So I can rewrite that as 1 over 2 square root x. Because if I move this x to the negative 1/2 down to the denominator, it makes a positive 1/2, which is just a square root x. So then similarly for finding the derivative of natural log of x, the derivative of natural log of x is 1 over x. That's one of your common formulas that you should memorize or use on a formula sheet if that's available to you. Okay, so now plugging these into my formula, I'll first put the 3 on the outside, and then I'm multiplying that by the product rule. So I have my f prime, which is the 1 over 2 root x, and then times the g, which is ln x, plus g prime, which is 1 over x, times my f, which is x to the power of 1/2, or let me go ahead and write that as the square root of x. Or no, let me actually write it as x to the 1/2 for now. Okay, so now to simplify this just a bit, I can put my ln x on top, make this 3 times ln x over 2 root x, because I'm like multiplying my fractions here, where ln x is ln x over 1. And then if I multiply my x to the 1/2 on the top, I make, oops, that's supposed to be a plus. I make x to the 1/2 over x. And then to simplify just a bit more, if I have common bases, I can simplify by subtracting the exponents. So I'll do my 1/2 minus my understood 1 exponent here, which would make 3 times ln of x over 2 root x, plus 1/2 minus 1 is negative 1/2. So just to simplify that just a bit more, I'll again use my negative 1/2, put it in the denominator as the square root of x, and that makes 3 times ln of x over 2 root x plus 1 over root x. We generally don't want to leave radicals in the denominator. Also, if we can add these two fractions together, it would be a bit more simple. So this denominator is 2 root x, so if we multiply top and bottom by 2 here, we would get 3 times ln of x over 2 root x plus 2 over 2 root x, which then, adding those numerators and leaving the denominator the same, is 3 times ln x plus 2 over 2 root x. And then lastly, we can multiply top and bottom by root x to get that out of the denominator. So times root x is 3 times, let me actually put my root x out front with my 3 since I have it there, 3 root x times ln x plus 2 over 2x, because the root x times root x would be x. Yeah, so I think that that would be my fully simplified derivative. And then from here, let me move my find the derivative at 4 down to here. And if we plug in 4, we get 3 root 4 times ln of 4 plus 2 over 2 times 4. So root 4 is 2, so 3 times 2 is 6, and then ln of 4 plus 2 over 2 times 4 is 8. And we can simplify that just a bit more, because 6 on top and 8 on bottom, we can divide out a 2 to make this a 3 and that a 4. So let's make this, I'll bring the 4 out front as well to make this 3 over 4 times ln of 4 plus 2. And we could find the decimal approximation of this number, but this would be our exact value.